Coastal Love and Decor. How's everybody doing on this Wednesday? I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Okay, so today we're going to do a Seahorse glass and resin theme piece on a picture frame. Now, the frames I use come like, if you can tell, in here, they're distressed. Yes, you can leave them like that. I honestly think they're way too distressed for me. So what I did, since most of my frames are white, today I'm doing ivory, and I think I'm liking it. And you can see some of the graining of the wood behind it, so that's good for me. So first thing you want to do is, well, I paint that, and then once that's painted, and I seal it. Once that's done, then I glue my glass in the back, add the frog painter's tape just in case you missed a spot and you don't want all this resin oozing out. It's just a safety precaution. You can give it a shot, but I never do. If I do, it is very rarely. It's because I have all my stuff on and I forgot to tape it. That's about the only time. So I'm going to take some alcohol and I'm going to clean off my glass frame here, the glass picture frame here. Get that nice and clean. Flip it over. Obviously, tomorrow when I pull off the tape, this is going to get cleaned again. But you definitely want to make sure your front is clean. Okay, so today I'm going to use this Seahorse. Now, these pieces I'm putting on here today, I made with mix to mold, and I do believe I have a video. I can't tell you which one it is, but these are made from mix to mold. So they come out white, and they're just like porcelain. So this is how they come out. So what I've done is I've painted this in metallic, two metallic blues, a metallic purple, and then I took metallic gold, and I used my finger to add the gold touch to it. All I do is squeeze it on a plastic plate or something and dab it on a paper towel, and with my finger, I just go across like that. That's how I get these high pieces accented in gold. So that's our Seahorse. Then I also made the scallop shell, and what I end up doing is individually gluing on each one of these pearls on this. So takes a little time, but it's that little extra when you make stuff that, you know, adds some zhuzh to your project. I also did this starfish. I painted all these pieces in the metallic, or it was either metallic or white pearl. And then again, I took the gold with my finger just to give it a casting of gold. So I did that, and I did this one, and I did this one. I also have 3 pieces of sea glass that I collected off of Lake Erie years ago. Most of mine are brown and white, but some people get lucky, and I put the color glass on some of the pieces. It took me 5 years to collect a lot of sea glass, but like I said, most of it is brown and white, and I do have some colors, so I watch my colors. The other thing is This is faux glittered coral. I have real coral, but for this piece, I want to use this. I like the sparkle. I like the colors. Since most of my shells are going to be white, I wanted to have a pop of color. So I have a couple pieces I'm going to throw in there. And then I'll be using the crushed pearlized shell. And I'll probably add some small real seashells and starfish in here as well. So let's get this started. Let's put it together, and then once we put this together, I'll pause the video, mix up my resin, and come back on. So let's start with the pearlized shell. Okay, so I'm just going to, you want to make sure that your glass is all covered because you don't want to see your glass underneath. In the event that after you pour it and you see a spot, you can use the UV wand with a black light and add a piece or two on if you would miss. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go like so. Let me get my Seahorse in here. And mind you, these are breakable. So when you're working with them, you kind of have to be a little gentle. But for those of you that don't have problems, you know, allergic to resin or whatnot, this is a great product to use. If you want to make pieces. Okay, so I'm going with this here. And I do believe when this is all finished, I am going to add some clear glass in the background. But like I said, we're just going to go along and see how this goes. I know what I have in my vision, but we'll see what happens. Now, some of these pieces, I'm going to put it together, but some of these pieces, you'll see me taking off once I start pouring the resin, but I'll go through all that once we get started with the resin. All right, so I'm figuring that like so. Now, I want this faux blue sparkle coral. I also took clear spray and sprayed this so that the glitter doesn't go all over the place. I got that at Bell's. And I think I'm just going to lay this on top of here like so. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to kind of lay it on here. I don't mind that it's going onto the wood. That doesn't bother me a bit. Okay, but I do want to take this little piece and slip it under here, just like that. Then I want to add, I think this piece here. And then this shell, I think I'm going to add right here. Okay, now the sea glass I do not want to cover in resin. I want it to sit on top of the resin. So I'm thinking one piece here, maybe one piece here, and then another little piece maybe in here, like so. Okay, this is my game plan. Now, like I said, what I'm going to do is mix up my resin. I believe this is going to take about 3 ounces of resin. I use the J. Diction Deep Pore High Gloss epoxy resin. It's a 1-to-1. I'm going to mix that up, and then I'll come back, and I'm going to remove some of these pieces to start the pour. And then I also need to get my clear glass in here for this piece. So hang tight. Give me a few minutes and I will be back to finish this project with you. Okay, I am back. I have my resin mixed and ready to go. And now we're going to, I want to check and make sure you're in the camera. Yeah, I gotta move it a little. Let's do this. Let me move this a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. Okay. So, I've got my resin mixed. I do want to grab my glass. I got my glass and my starfish. I better grab those. And then my little shells, which are sitting right here. Okay, I think we can start. So, I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to pull these off. And this glass. And there was that other little piece of glass. I'm going to pull that off. All right, I'm taking this off for the moment. And I think I want just a little bit more of the crushed shell in there. Just a little bit more. Okay. Get that over. All right, this looks like everything's covered. And I'm going to leave that one little piece right there. I think I'm good there. Make sure he's straight. Okay, so I'm going to start here in the crushed shell. And I'm just going to drizzle along the edge there. And I'm just going to cover that piece of coral. And we're going to come along bottom edge here. Try not to get on my frame. And now we're just going to get in there and cover the crushed shell up. So the resin's self-leveling, so it all should work out wonderfully. Now I'm going to get a little bit inside his tail here, because I'm not covering him per se. You could, but I'm not going to. And I'm going to get around him right in here. Just like so. Alrighty, now I'm going to add that piece of coral over here. Just like that. And again, I don't mind that it is off to the frame some. And I'm just going to cover this where the shell will cover the bottom here. And then I'm going to add the shell right here. I'm just going to, let me get, trying to get it as flat as the shell, as flat as possible. Okay, let me add just a little bit around that shell. So that it doesn't go anywhere. I'm just going right along the edge of it, not on it. Okay, now I did get some resin on him right here. I'm going to just wipe it off real quick. Okay, that looks good so far. I'm just going to push it in there a little bit. Okay, then let's put, I'm going to put a little bit more in here because that's where that large starfish is going. We're going to stick him. Yeah, I want that. I want this little piece of coral covered and the rest to stick out. Like so. And I will take a little bit around him as well. And I think just a little bit in there. I'm thinking I need a couple pieces of crushed shell in by there. So let me push some of this in here underneath the starfish. We're going to push it in there like so. Just want to get some in there so that there isn't a clear opening. That's why I'm doing that. Okay. All right, that looks good. Now let's put, I'm going to put just a little dab right in here for this seashell. Just going to kind of push it on there. And then a little bit more in here for this shell. Just like so. Okay, I'm going to, let's see, do I want to do my glass next? I better do my glass next and then start adding the shells. So let's see, I'm hoping these ain't all really huge. Yeah, I don't know if I want that great big one. Give me my lid to put my big pieces in because I don't want Jagunda pieces in this. This isn't a huge piece. big. That's too big. We're just going to add this glass in here. Let's get some more. Just like so. I'm turning them so they ain't standing on their sides. Now we got to get some in between that coral. Get some underneath. That piece don't want to go. Trying not to, there it goes. Now you can put on as little or as much as you want. Let's see, I need a piece in there, piece there. Need some up in here. Some down in there. Wish I had some really small pieces. Let's put one there. Now you could have put this on before than when I'm doing it, but I was kind of wanting to see. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to put glass on it. Okay, so let's just spread it up a little. Couple little pieces in here. Get a piece up in there. You just don't want no great big open section like I have right there. A few more and I should be done. One like in here. Just like so. Let me get in here. Oh, put that up in there. And that looks pretty good. You know, some people just toss it. I can't toss it. I just can't. Let's put a piece here. I wish I had one little tiny piece. See, that resin is starting to move up. So I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Honestly, I think it's all right. You could also put bubbles in this. You could put some bubbles up in there. I thought about it for a moment. But I think that's going to be good for now. Okay. I'm liking that. Okay. What I might do too is I want to put a starfish in there before I start pouring. So let me kind of put one. I want to put one like in here. So you're going to move your glass a little bit. just like so. I think that's where I'm going with that. And I think I have a small one we can kind of put up in here. You don't have to do this. You can leave it the way it is. I always say more is more. That's me. Okay, one right there. Okay, let's get some small shells on the bottom. And then I can start pouring my resin. So I'm just going to take a few shells and just stick them here and there. Get some shells in there. Let's see what else I got. Just like so. You just add what you want, what you like. Let's put one up in there. And I think I'll put a couple in here. There's my crazy dog barking. Just like so. Now, if this is sticking up too much, tomorrow I can put a dab of E6000 to hold it down. I'll have to wait and see how it goes. I think we need a little tiny, another little tiny starfish. Right down here. Just like so. And me, I also love, I don't have any small scallops either. I put a small, oh, do I have a small scallop? Yes. I'm going to put this, except I have to move those. I'm going to move this because if I resin it, it's going to rattle. So I don't want it underneath this shell here. So I'm just going to, I'm putting that right there. There we go. And let's put one right in here. Just shove it in there. And I think we're good. A couple little tiny ones. Okay, I think we're good there. Oh, and of course, I have pearls here, but a couple little ones here and there. I'll just add them, drop them here and there. And actually, I think I'll put a big one up in here. Don't know where it's going to go. It may roll. Two. Let's put one up there by the starfish. There. All right, I'm done. Just to add the, now we're going to start adding our resin, the rest of our resin. Just going to come down. And I want to make sure I get around this seahorse. Again, I am not covering the seahorse. You could, but I'm not going to. Make sure you get your outside edge and corners. And then I got to cover up some of the stuff that I added. If I can see where I added it. Okay. I am going to cover up this shell. We'll let that float on it a minute. Let's get in here. Get all around that. And I'm going to add my sea glass last. So what I want to do is kind of cover this up without it going on my frame, which it's just doing right now. So I'm going to get a Q-tip. And let's get that up. Yeah, it was fine until I added that last scallop shell, but I wanted it on there. So let me get this cleaned up. Okay, that looks good. I do believe I need a toothpick because I see I moved some of the shell, which now, there we go. Because I can see the green tape, but there we go. I got another spot to clean up. Okay. Alrighty, that looks good. Okay, where else did I added shells here. And let me get in there where the pearls are. Now I will cover up some of this coral on this side. Move that glass a little bit. just checking to see if I missed anything. Okay. That'll hold down really well. I'm just pushing on it, moving it just a little. Just to make sure it's going to stay. And I think this looks pretty good. I got a drip over here. Get that. And like I said, if I want this to stay down more, I can glue it tomorrow. This actually is looking pretty good. And then we just got to add our sea glass. That looks good. All right, so I said, well, oh, that's where my sea glass was going. So let's just put it up in, let's put this down in here. I'm just going to set it in there, just like so. And then let's just put this one up in there. Just going to try and push it on there. And let's just put it right there. So I'm going to grab my toothpick and kind of just push it in a little bit. I don't want to cover it. So there's that. And then there's that piece there. So guys, that looks pretty good. I want to thank you for sticking around and taking the time out of your day to watch my videos. If you have any questions, please reach out. If you like this video, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, and if you would like to see more of what I do, then please hit that little turtle on the bottom right hand side of your video, and that will subscribe you. Okay, so I'm going to take the torch to this, and I have this small little butane torch, and I'm just going to go over it quickly. You don't want to burn your resin or anything else on it, and that'll help with the bubbles. All right, guys, thank you very much. I hope you all have an awesome rest of your day. Until the next time, bye.